To our training on HACCP fundamentals for safe packaging. HACCP is a system that helps us ensure the safety and quality of the plastic containers and bottles we produce. It's essential for protecting our customers and maintaining our company's reputation. Let's get started. Contamination can occur at any stage, from the raw materials we receive to the finished products we ship out. HACCP is our proactive approach to preventing problems before they happen. By identifying and controlling potential hazards in our plastic packaging production, we contribute to a safer food chain for everyone. HACCP stands for Hazard Analysis and Critical Control Points. It's a preventative approach to consumer safety that identifies and controls potential hazards in our process. From the resin we use to the finished containers, HACCP helps us prevent contamination and ensure the safety of our products. This protects the food and beverages people consume every day, all the way to the end of the food chain. HACCP is essential for protecting consumers and maintaining our brand reputation. Imagine you're building a super safe car. You wouldn't just hope for the best, right? You'd carefully identify potential problems, like faulty brakes, and figure out ways to prevent those problems from happening in the first place. It's kind of what HACCP is all about, but for food. HACCP, Hazard Analysis and Critical Control Points, is like a detective system for finding and stopping food safety problems before they make people sick. Here's the simple version. 1. Find the dangers. We look closely at every step of how we make our food containers and figure out what could go wrong, like bacteria getting in or a piece of plastic breaking off. 2. Focus on the big problems. We pick out the most important danger zones where we really need to be extra careful. 3. Set safety rules. We make strict rules for those danger zones to keep things safe, like checking temperatures, washing our hands at the right times, or inspecting the containers. 4. All The first principle is to identify the hazards. What could go wrong in our process? We need to consider all the types of hazards in our plastic container manufacturing. Biological hazards. Though less common with plastics, we can't forget about them. We need to watch out for the potential for mold and bacteria growth in storage areas or on equipment if things aren't properly cleaned. Chemical hazards. These can be things like leftover chemicals from the plastic itself, additives, cleaning agents we use, or even lubricants from the machines. That's why proper material selection and careful handling are so important. Physical hazards. Think about things like plastic fragments, dust, or any foreign objects, metal, shavings, glass, anything that could accidentally end up in the final product and cause a problem. We need to be vigilant about these. Next, we need to find the critical control points or CCPs. These are the points in our process where we can prevent, eliminate, or reduce those hazards. But how do we actually find these CCPs? It's not always obvious. We use tools like the CCP decision tree, illustrated here, to help us identify CCPs. We also use risk assessment matrices, consult with experts, and analyze past data to make sure we don't miss anything. By using these methods, we can pinpoint the specific steps in our process where we can prevent, eliminate, or reduce those identified hazards to an acceptable level. Okay, so we've identified our hazards and found our CCPs. Now what? It's time to establish critical limits. Think of critical limits as the boundaries we set for each CCP. They're like the lines we draw in the sand to say, this is safe and this is not safe. Critical limits can be things like temperature, how hot or cold something needs to be. For example, in food safety, we might say that poultry needs to be cooked to 165 degrees Fahrenheit to kill harmful bacteria. Time, how long a process should take. Like maybe a certain product can only be stored at room temperature for 4 hours before it needs to be refrigerated. pH. This measures how acidic or alkaline something is. Some foods need to be kept at a certain pH to prevent bacteria from growing. Moisture content. How much water is in something. Dried foods, for example, need to have a low moisture content to prevent spoilage. Now, in our plastic container manufacturing, we might have different kinds of critical limits. For example, a critical limit might be a specific temperature for the melted plastic, a certain pressure during molding, or a time limit for cooling. The key is to set specific parameters for each CCP to make sure we're controlling the hazard. Critical limits help us stay within safe ranges and make sure our products are high quality. Principle 4 is all about monitoring. We need to regularly check our CCPs to make sure these are staying within those critical limits. We can monitor through observations, like visually inspecting containers for defects, or measurements, like using a thermometer to check the temperature of the melted plastic. We also need to make sure our monitoring equipment is calibrated correctly. Monitoring is essential for ensuring that our CCPs are effective and your products are safe. It's about actively looking for deviations and taking action to maintain control. What happens if something goes wrong and a CCP is not under control? That's where corrective actions come in. We need to have procedures in place to fix the problem and prevent it from happening again. This might involve stopping production, isolating affected products, investigating the cause, and taking steps to correct the issue. Corrective actions help us keep our products safe and our process running smoothly. Verification is like a double check to make sure our HACCP system is working as intended. We use different methods like internal audits, reviewing records, calibrating equipment, and testing for bacteria to verify our system. Verification helps us to be confident that our HACCP system is effective and our products are safe. Finally, we need to keep good records. This includes everything from our hazard analysis to our monitoring results and any corrective actions taken. Records help us track our progress, identify trends, and prove that we are following our HACCP plan. Good record keeping is essential for an effective HACCP system. We've talked about CCPs, but do we need them at every step? Not always. That's where prerequisite programs or PRPs come in. PRPs are the things we do every day to create a safe and hygienic environment. Remember that house analogy from our HACCP training? GMPs are the foundation of the house, and PRPs are the walls and support beams. Well, here's how they all fit together. PRPs help support our overall HACCP system by preventing hazards in the first place. Strong PRPs can actually reduce the number of CCPs we need. This is because some hazards might already be controlled by our PRPs, like keeping the facility clean and training employees. Look at this diagram. On the top, we have a PRP. In this case, it's proper hygiene, cleaning, and sanitation. That PRP helps control hazards throughout the facility. Because of that strong PRP, the process step on the bottom might not need to be a CCP. The hazard is already being managed. So, how do we know if a step needs to be a CCP? Ask yourself question 1 of the CCP decision tree. Is control at this step essential for safety? If a PRP is already doing the job, the answer is likely no. But if there's no PRP, or if the hazard is really serious, then we probably do need a CCP. Strong PRPs are like extra support beams in our house. They help make our overall system stronger and more stable. This means we're being proactive, preventing hazards before they even start. Okay, let's take a closer look at the difference between CCPs and PRPs using this handy table. First, let's look at the definitions. PRPs are the basic things we do every single day to create a safe and hygienic environment. Think of them as the foundation of our consumer and product safety system. CCPs, on the other hand, are specific points in our process where we need to take control to prevent, eliminate, or reduce a hazard. Now, let's look at the purpose. PRPs are all about creating a general environment that supports food safety and reduces the likelihood of any contamination. CCPs are more focused. They're designed to control a specific identified hazard at a critical point in the process. Here are some examples in our plastic container manufacturing. PRPs, things like making sure our supplies meet quality standards, keeping our facility clean and well maintained, training our employees, and monitoring our environment. CCPs, this might include things like carefully controlling the temperature during resin melting or making sure the cooling process is just right to prevent defects in the containers. Notice that some things that could be CCPs might actually be covered by our PRPs, like if our equipment is well maintained and has automatic controls. Next, let's talk about monitoring. We usually monitor PRPs less frequently. It might be something we observe, or it might involve general record keeping like cleaning logs. CCPs, on the other hand, often need continuous or very frequent monitoring with specific measurements like temperature readings or pressure checks. And finally, corrective actions. If something goes wrong with a PRP, we usually have general procedures to address it, like retraining employees or improving cleaning practices. But with CCPs, we have very specific, predefined steps to take if something is out of control, like stopping production, isolating the product, and investigating the cause. The key takeaway here is that PRPs are always required as the foundation of our consumer and product safety system. CCPs, however, may not be required if those PRPs are really strong and effective. It's all about having a proactive and comprehensive approach to safety. Now for a quick recap on those PRPs and how they can be so powerful. Remember, in a well-designed facility like ours, hazards might already be under control thanks to our strong PRPs. Think of it like this. If you build a house with really strong walls and support beams, you might not need as many extra reinforcements, and that's a good thing. It means our overall system is robust and proactive in preventing hazards. So, how do our PRPs help us achieve this? First, we use only approved high-quality materials from suppliers we trust. This helps prevent contamination from the very beginning. Second, our facility itself is designed and maintained for hygiene. We have smooth, cleanable surfaces, good ventilation, and we keep everything organized and well maintained. Third, we have established waste management, cleaning, and sanitation procedures. Everyone knows how to clean and sanitize properly, and we do it regularly. Fourth, pest control is a priority. We don't want any unwanted visitors contaminating our products or our facility. Fifth, our employees are well trained in good manufacturing practices and safety procedures. Everyone knows their role in keeping things safe. And finally, we monitor our environment. We check the air quality and water quality to make sure that there are no hidden sources of contamination. All of these PRPs work together to create a safe and hygienic environment, which can reduce or even eliminate the need for traditional CCPs. That's why we focus so much on GMPs. They're the building blocks for those strong PRPs. HACCP certification is a valuable investment that benefits our customers, our brand, and our business. Third-party certification shows our customers and the public that we are committed to safety and quality. It can also help us meet regulatory requirements and access new markets. Remember, HACCP is everyone's responsibility. By working together and following these principles, we can ensure that our plastic containers and bottles are safe, high quality, and protect the health of our consumers. We should always strive for continuous improvement in our product and consumer safety system. Your feedback and observations are valuable. That concludes our HACCP fundamentals training. I hope you all have a better understanding of how HACCP works and why it's so important for keeping our food packaging safe. Remember, we all have a role to play in preventing hazards and protecting consumers. Thank you for your time and attention. Now go out there and be HACCP heroes. And as always, God bless and have a productive day.